We're going to start lying down on our back. And in terms of leg positions, this is where you have a couple of options depending on your current level of flexibility. If you're someone with tighter hips, I suggest keeping your left leg bent. Right leg we're going to kick out straight or maybe even bend it a little bit as well. Let's start with that leg straight, see what it feels like. If you're someone with more flexible hips, go ahead, straighten that left leg out on the floor as well. Keeping our back on the ground, we're going to kick that right leg up as high as we can. This should feel like a squeeze through the quads, the front of that thigh, and a little bit in our hip flexors, the front of the hip. Then we're going to lower it back down. If you're someone with tight hips and you can't even quite kick that leg up to 90 degrees, go ahead and bend that knee until you can get to 90 degrees, and you can keep that little bit of a bend as you lower. This may feel like a stretch in your hamstrings. If you've got really, really tight hamstrings and weak hip flexors, it might just feel like a lot of a squeeze and tension in the front of the thigh. That's okay too. If you've got slightly more flexible hips, it might be looking something like this. I got very flexible hips. We're going to keep that left leg flat on the floor as we kick the right leg up as high as we can. But whatever leg variation you're doing, I want you to make sure you're keeping the back of your hip bones flat on the floor. So sometimes what happens is our butt starts to rotate, our hips start to lift a teeny bit. What that looks like if our back leg is bent is something like this. So what that's happening is it's not getting any bit of a stretch in our hamstring, it's just lifting our hips and rotating it to make that stretch easier. So make sure your hip bones are staying in the same spot as we're working that right leg. Want to do about 8 to 10 leg lifts on that right leg, and 8 to 10 on the left leg.
If you want to learn more stretches like this, you should totally check out the Flexopedia on my website. It's a free online library of stretches with detailed how to's for both passive stretches and active stretches organized by muscle group. You can access the Flexpedia by going to dannywinksflexibility.com/Flexopedia or simply click the link in this video description.